Scene opens on an overflowing blue recycling bin. You can hear printer noises in the background. It's printing a really big job, just keeps spitting out paper. Printer noise, a page slides out. Page slides out. Printer noise, a page slides out. Printer noise, a page slides out. Another page. The last page hits the top of the stack and the stack starts to tip. The last page slides, falls off into the recycling bin. But as it hits the layer of paper, it explodes through into blue nothingness. It starts to accelerate through the blueness, just going faster and faster as on its way down. Hits a cloud of paper and explodes, words explosions all the way down, hits more things, leaves a trail of debris behind it, which flutter to the bottom of the screen into this alleyway. Suddenly a streak falls through the sky and lands in the dumpster. Things are going everywhere. It's a crazy explosion of everything everywhere. Suddenly the lid is opened. And a hand appears on the edge of the dumpster. Another hand, and they tighten as somebody tries to pull their face out. It's a person. He's Eli, and he's blinking his eyes in the light. He realizes that he can see. He's never seen. Everything is blurry and sparkly. His new eyes, and sees that he has hands, and they're blurry because his eyes can't see very well yet. He realizes he can move them. Wiggles his fingers. It's pretty exciting. He has hands. Out of the corner of his eye, he sees that he has a foot, which is also exciting. It's his foot, and he wiggles it. He decides that he should get out of the dumpster and go out into the world, which he does. But as he pulls himself out, he's new at this world and this body, and he tumbles out onto the ground. Flat on his back, he looks up to the sky and sees at the top of the 5-story building, there's someone up there. They're looking down at him. It's a woman. He stands up and waves awkwardly and like, hey, want to be friends? Hello. But she just walks off, and he stands there hopefully, hoping she'll come back. But he's distracted by the honking noises coming from the end of the alley, and he goes out and he sees there's this whole stream of cars just going back and forth in front of the opening of the alley. It's a giant road. He is very taken with the idea of the road until he looks up. Sees that there's a giant paper city spread out before him. Beautiful skyline. It's grand. It's marvelous. It's huge. It's like there's highway overpasses and skyline and lots of cars and buildings and trucks and traffic and all sorts of city things that he's just fascinated by. Incredibly tall buildings. He looks over to the left because something's caught his eye. And 3 papers burst through the atmosphere like he did. He tries to follow them as they stream across the sky, leaving drip trails. But he loses them behind a building, and he's like, oh no. So he steps back off the curb to try to get a closer look. And he sees some, but he hears a honk, and he turns quickly, and because there's a truck coming barreling towards him, he's stuck in the headlights like a deer. He blocks his face with his hands to try to protect himself, but someone drags him out of the way at the last second as the truck runs by. It's Gretchen, and they're sitting on the curb. Are you okay? Well, yeah, I'm fine. No, you're not. Look at your foot. He looks at his foot. It's crushed. Oh, no. He wiggles it, but he can't feel it. There's no movement possible. He's very worried, but she just helps him stand up. It's like, you're going to be fine. No, I'm not. My foot is hurting. It's gone. It's not usable. And she brings him into the alley towards a fire escape, which is 5 flights of just hop, hop, and pain. It takes a very long time because he only has 1 foot, but she helps him. She gets him to the ladder and pulls him up the last way. He opens his eyes and sees this beautiful garden on the rooftop. Gretchen's garden is like nothing he's ever seen before. It's verdant, it's crazy, and it's very enthralling to him as she helps him sit on a bench. He examines his foot and promptly rips it off because there's nothing they can do to save it. He's quite alarmed by this as she throws it and it tumbles over into somewhere. And she goes over to a tree and rips off a piece of its bark as Eli sits on the bench being very concerned. And she folds it as she walks back to him. He's kind of frightened, but she's made him a foot, and he puts the new foot on, and it attaches well. He can move it. It's working. This is really exciting, so he decides to try it out and runs around and runs to the wall to look down into the alley where he was born. He looks back and thank you, but out of a sudden, just terrible, loud, ripping, crunching noises, and the overpass, the highway starts collapsing in every direction, and everything over there starts falling apart with these horrible, loud noises. Buildings start falling into each other, raining debris down onto the roads and crushing cars and pile up. The street opens and it sucks up all the cars. And he looks back and there's a shadow falling across Gretchen. 2 buildings have collapsed over the top of her apartment and a pile of debris rains down and covers her. Eli quickly runs over, like maybe there's a chance that she has survived. Maybe I can help her, and digs frantically, trying to find her. He bursts through a layer and finds that there's a tree that's created a kind of cave that's she's fine. He pulls her out. They run away as a giant piece of debris crushes what was left of whatever was in the pile. And they run because that's all they can do, and they run to the fire escape, and they run down the fire escape. And she pulls him towards the end of the alley, but it's chaos out there, worse than what they saw when they were up above. He turns back towards the alley and drags her back to the overturned dumpster, tells her to quick get in, and he follows her to hide in the dumpster as they close the side door. As the world starts peeling apart and flowing like a river around the dumpster as the ground tilts up. They sit and listen to the horrible noises until they think it's over. And he opens up the side door, and there's nothing, just blueness. He climbs out to try to figure out what's going on. She follows him. They look around, there's nothing. They both turn in the same direction to see the last of the paper city falling over the edge of this blueness into the giant abyss. And she's very worried, but he's not really sure what to do. And the ground shakes. The dumpster can't hold on anymore and slides off into the nothingness as well, and they watch it go. Eli looks to Gretchen for advice, but all she does is rip off a piece of herself that says her name and hands it to him. He's like, oh, great, we're friends, but before she can explain, she falls forward and he falls backwards as the ground tips, and she spirals off onto nothing. The ground tips again suddenly, and he can't help it, and he falls forward to grab a ledge, but as he spins around, he loses the piece of paper with Gretchen's name on it. It's decision time. It slides farther away. He decides to let go because he has to have that piece of paper, and he chases it down, sliding down the tilting slope of the ground. He hits the lip and makes a grab for it, but misses, and the lip flips him up, and suddenly he's unfurled into a single piece of paper, which falls much faster than the scrap with Gretchen's name on it. And he falls down into the black nothingness. He catches up with this paper with the corner pulled out. It's Gretchen, and they spiral together off into the bottom of the screen into black.